welcome to another edition of Coding for AI, Building an AI Chatbot. My name remains Vincent Hope. Today, we're on AI Chatbot Lesson 3, and we're going to be looking at working with JSON files for memory. Now, what are we going to learn? So what we're going to learn, we're going to learn file handling and JSON model basics. So let's jump right into it. My name remains Vincent Hope. So what are JSON files? What are JSON files? JSON, which is JSON, is a short form for JavaScript Object Notation. JavaScript Object Notation. It's a lightweight data interchange format that's easy for humans to read and write, and also easy for machines, which is your computer or your software, to parse, which simply means to read, understand, and convert, and also generate. It is commonly used for configuration files, storing structured data, exchange data between servers and web application or scripts. So in simple terms, JSON files, which are JavaScript object notation files, are files that are easy for you and I to understand, and also easy for the computer or the software to also understand. Now let's look at a simple JSON content. Example of JSON content. Now let me scroll down a bit. So now you can see that we open here lists. Open here, and we have this content in this list. We have name, which is John. You have a name in inverted comma with column John. Age, which is 30. A student, as is the person a student or not. False. What kinds of skills does the person have? Now the person can work with Python and also work with SQL. So this is a simple content of a JSON file, so you can see that you can easily understand the content, and the software or the computer or Python itself can also understand what is inside. Now, so how do we create JSON files? Because we are going to be using it a lot in our building our AI chatbot. So how to create and use a JSON files in Python. So Python provides a built-in module called JSON to work with JSON data. Now let's see how do we create. So creating a JSON file in Python. Now the first step is to import the JSON module. Import the JSON module, which you simply do by using the code import JSON. Then, so if I enter this now, I'll have to run it so it will stay in the memory. Okay, it's running. So let me scroll down while that is running. Okay, so import JSON. Let me confirm if my network is connected so that we don't have issues. Okay, I think it's connected. So it has uploaded and stopped it. Now the first one is import the JSON module. The second step is to create your Python data dictionary or lists. You can create a dictionary or list. Now, in this dictionary, we use a variable called data. You can use any name, which we will see the other examples. So data equals to, we're creating the dictionary now. This is open bracket or open parenthesis or braces. So we use name, column John Doe. So everywhere the name is shown, John Doe is shown. Age 30, email johndoe@example.com, skills Python, machine learning, web development. You close it, you close the bracket or the braces. So this is what you want to put in the JSON file. So now let's move forward. Let's make progress. So that's the content. So let me also run this. Since we have imported the module, I also run this file here. Okay, it's also already run. Now the step 3 is to write the data to a JSON file. This is the data. The first thing we do, let's take it back. We imported the JSON module. The second thing, we created the dictionary of the content of the file. Now we want to write this content into a JSON file. So how do we do that? You use this command here with open it, data.json, very important, comma, now ww represents write as JSON file. You are telling it to write data as a what? JSON file. Then in the json.dump, that means the content of this, what you are going to create as a JSON file, json.dump data, this data, which is the one you created here, data dot json comma json file comma indent. Now data.json is the name of the file to create, so it can be x.json, datafile.json, whatever. So it's the name of the file you want to create. Now the indent for, which is this one, formats the JSON file to be more human readable. So that's the essence. So that is the content. So I still have to run this file. Okay, it has been run. Now I have created this JSON file. Now remember, this json.dump loads the data of this, of the data of the dictionary. This dump command here loads the data of the dictionary and puts it into this data.json. So now the next thing I want to do now, I want to read the content, because I've already created it by imputing this content into the file. Now I will now say with open data.json, now read. The first one we used there was write, which is to mean write content into the file. Now read as JSON file. We're giving instruction to Python now. Now I'll now use the word, I'll use a variable called loaded data. It can be any name I decide to choose, which we're going to see. Then equals to json.load, json.load JSON file. Remember the JSON file we created, this JSON file here, but the name was data.json. So this is the JSON file. Now we will now print the content. If we print the content here, we run it here, you can see now the name, John Doe, age 30, email this, skills this, because we have printed it. Print is always what generates the output. Now I can decide to remove this loaded data. I can just simply call it loaded, and also change here to loaded, and I also run the code. It still gives me the same output because I have transferred all the information here into this variable, and I printed the variable. If I call it loaded 5, I must also change this one here to loaded 5. If I run it, I still get the same output, or else I will get an error. Let me remove 5 here and I leave loaded 5 here. If I run it, it will see it will generate. Okay, I said print loaded 5. Okay, let me say this is loaded 3, because this loaded was there before. Okay, the loaded was in memory. Let me just say print loaded 1, for example. I'll run it. It will not give me any output. You can see it generates an error because it does not recognize loaded 1. Now, so I can change it back to loaded 3, which is run it. It gives me back my code. So we are done with this. Now let's make progress. Now that is one example. Now let's look at example 2, where we put everything in a particular cell. Now import JSON, which is the module. Now load the file from a JSON file with open. That's the command we use here, with open data.json. Now put read as JSON file, which is what is this. Now data equals to json.load JSON file, which is exactly what we did here. Then we say what? Print data. we run this command, we get back the same information that was previously here, the same output. Now, let's make progress. Now, if you are working in the Kaggle environment, which is what we are working with, remember we're in the Kaggle environment. We are www.kaggle.code, Vincent Home, and the rest of it. Now, we get a name for the file, for example, experiments-log. This is the name of the data of the file we want to use. Now, we want to create a dictionary for this. So, open bracket, model, random forest, accuracy this, timestamp this. Now, we close the bracket. Now, to save to the file, we use the same thing which we used there with open. Now, you know the Kaggle directory. The Kaggle directory is /Kaggle/working experiment.log.json because it's a JSON file. Close it there. You put comma right as F. Now, JSON.dump, because this as F simply means as file handling or file handle. .json.dump experiments log, which is the name here. F indent, make it human readable, and print experiment log. You run this code here. Exactly what was entered here is the output here. If I say now I change the model to me and you, I change it to me and you, I remove the content. Remember, model was random forest, but now I want to change it to me and you. So you see now the model has changed. So I can do the same thing for accuracy. I can do the same thing for timestamp and change the content. So we can see how that works. Now, something to note. Note, in Kaggle, use paths Kaggle/input/read only dataset if you want to read it, or Kaggle/working for writing files. This is for reading a file. This is for writing because we're in the Kaggle environment. Now, let's make progress. Now, example 3, we use import JSON, which is the module. Now, to save to a simple dictionary, we call that dictionary new data. Like, remember the other one here we used or the name we used experiment log. Or now we want new data. So new data, you can put them all together in one straight line. So name, chatbot, greeting, hello, with open. Now data.json, write as F, json.dump, put that information, which is this information, into the new data, comma F. Now to load it back, that means you can put all of them in one cell with open, close it, data.json, R and comma R, which is to read it as F. Now loaded equals to what? JSON.load F. Now that means whatever is here, transfer it here. Now print loaded, then the greeting, which is this greeting. So if I run it, I run this, it says hello. If I also change this content here, remove this content here, and I put name, which is for this, and I run it. Okay. Okay, so print loaded. Let me change it back to greeting. Greeting. Run it. Okay, hello. Let's tell me back to name. Name. Run it. Okay, you can see the name now has responded. The name here is what? Chatbot. So you can see this is how you use JSON files, because it's going to be very important when we're running our chatbot. So let's go through it again briefly. So we're working with JSON files. So the first step in the JSON file is to import the JSON module, import the JSON, very important. The next thing is to create your Python data dictionary or list. Now you can give this any name, open brackets, enter the data as required for your chatbot. Then step 3, write the data to a JSON file. After you have imported, you have created the content of the JSON file. The next thing is to write the data to a JSON file. That same data you put here, say with open data.json writes as JSON file, and JSON.dump data JSON file indent and the rest of it. Then the final point is to print out the content. So with open data.json, R as JSON loaded tree, or whatever name you decide to give it, load. Then what you need to simply do is what? Print loaded.tree. So this is simply how you work, the basics of how you work with a JSON file. My name remains Vincent Hope. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next lesson.